Hi folks, welcome to a very bright, late afternoon sun here in Sydney. We are looking at Revelation chapter 20, and I want to do this in two parts, although I will read the last few verses. We'll look at the books just now, and then we'll look at the book of life. But Revelation chapter 20 and at verse 11. Then I saw a great white throne and him who was seated on it. The earth and the heavens fled from his presence, and there was no place for them. And I saw the dead, great and small, standing before the throne, and books were opened. Another book was opened, which is the book of life. The dead were judged according to what they had done, as recorded in the books. The sea gave up the dead that were in it, and death and Hades gave up the dead that were in them. And each person was judged according to what they had done. Then death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. The lake of fire is the second death. Anyone whose name was not found written in the book of life was thrown into the lake of fire. Now, this is an extraordinary passage. And it just gives a great image of what is going to happen. Now, let's ask just very first, simply, who is judged? Well, we're just going to skip around the Bible a little bit because it is very clear. This is not just non-believers, this is also just believers. Romans chapter 14, verse 10 says this: Christ is the judge of the Lord of both the dead and the living. You then, why do you judge your brother and sister, or why do you treat them with contempt? For we will all stand before God's judgment seat. It is written, as surely as I live, says the Lord, every knee will bow before me, every tongue will acknowledge God. So then each of us will give an account of ourselves to God. Each of us will give an account of ourselves to God. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 10 says this: For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each of us may receive what is due to us for the things done while in the body, whether good or bad. But how can Christians appear before the judgment seat of Christ? Well, we're going to be judged too. It's interesting here, you see, that there's the books. The books are opened, and another book was opened. It's funny. I remember going to my friend Archie MacArthur's house when I was at school, and Mr. MacArthur saying, he was our maths teacher, actually saying, "We'll do the books." And I thought, well, what are the books? And the books were the Bible and the Psalm book, and it was just having family worship. Well, when we say do the books here, this is books that have everything of our life. So this machine that I'm using just now, the iPhone, there's so much that can be recorded on the internet, but every aspect of our life, everything we have done in and out, God has all that. And it's funny how people think that they will stand before the judgment throne of God and be able to justify themselves. We won't. We absolutely won't. So in what sense is this any kind of comfort? Well, another book was opened, which is the book of life. Now, excuse me, Exodus 32 says this, and I think this is just really quite extraordinary. Exodus 32, sorry, let me just get it for you. But now, please forgive their sin, but if not, then blot me out of the book you have written. Moses knew that God had a book. And this book is the book of life, and everyone whose name is written in it, when you stand before God on the day of judgment, the Lord will exonerate you of all the evil that you have done, but he'll still judge your works, and we'll look at that tomorrow. Oh, excuse me. But we are forgiven for all our sin. I think these are in a sense incredibly solemn verses. You may be watching this or listening to this and you think, I got away with it. No, we never get away with it. We never get away with it. The dead are judged according to what they had done, as recorded in the books. Each person was judged according to what they had done. Interestingly, that's the basis of judgment. Judgment according to what we have done. That's not the basis of salvation, but it is the basis of judgment. The basis of salvation is Christ dying for us and cleansing us from all the wrong things that we have done. But we'll come back to this tomorrow. Meanwhile, I hope my voice lasts out until then. But just think about it. Isn't it just extraordinary? Isn't it? Isn't, believing this, doesn't that have a restraining effect? I had a very interesting conversation today with a young man who's not a believer, or a very confused one if he is a believer. And this whole question of morality and where right and wrong comes from came up. But I'll tell you this, if you believe that you're going to have to give account for everything that you've done, it certainly modifies your behavior, at the very least. So let's return tomorrow to look more at the book of life and what that involves. God bless you and see you then. Bye.